Spokane.
Washington? Who is it?
Washington.
State?
Yes, he just said Spokane.
Spokane, Washington? Wow.
Spokane.
That's a long way away.
Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting, January 26th of 2015. If we could rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, Chief. Cudmore, why don't you come on up? We've got a bunch of appointments to do this evening, but also why don't you give us an update on the storm and FEMA and all that good stuff.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, the board. As we all know, there is a pretty significant blizzard going to hit our area. It's actually pending probably in the next couple of hours, where MEMA had just updated the emergency management directors. We're probably looking at the most significant portion of the storm hitting between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. The department heads met today at the PD. We had a 1 p.m. meeting. All department heads and significant personnel met. It was obviously determined to close the school district, which the superintendent did formally announce. Mr. Farrell elected to close town hall, so that's been taken care of. And myself and Chief Beardsley proceeded over to the high school to just take a look at the potential use of the school as our shelter should we need to open it. We've elected at this point right now for everyone to shelter in place unless they're ordered to evacuate or they have an emergency where they would call 911 and then we would take care of that. We're ready to initiate the opening of that shelter should it be needed, but at this point people are better to shelter in place since they have someplace to stay and they have their supplies and provisions. We've staffed both the fire and police department with extra personnel, and the other departments have made their provisions for the storm. As far as MEMA and the declaration of emergency, the governor declared this afternoon when he went on television approximately at noontime, and there is a travel ban after midnight tonight. So we ask that just the public stay off the roadways. You get to stay home, and enjoy that. We don't stay home, we're working, so it gives us a chance to clear the roads and respond to emergencies if needed. I would anticipate that people are prepared for a power outage. There is significant winds forecasted. I've met with Dave Schofield. His staff will be coming in approximately at 1 a.m. this morning to begin preparations for that when the storm really starts to wind up. So we're ready, and we're New Englanders. I think we can handle it. We just have to stay calm, and the services are there if you need them.
One question, is the school
Sure.
prepared for roof clearing?
Well, I know that the superintendent had met with Mike Anderson on that. We have no snow to speak of compared to what the other storms had fallen prior to a larger storm as far as their engineering requirements on the roof. But they are prepared in the event they do have to do that. The drifts and the wind will determine if any clearing will need to be done.
Right.
And we're keeping an eye on it. I actually have to call the gas and wiring inspector after this meeting because we have some things we're going to take care of right before they leave.
Okay, great.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman. Can we just make provisions to check in on Trestleway?
We always do when it's already in place.
Yeah, okay, good. Because they have
Already
the
spoke.
they have the generator there now.
Yes.
Good.
And the good news is for Trestleway and our seniors is I met with Colleen and spoke to Diane, is if we have to transfer a senior from their home or evacuate them from their home, we do have the community center at the Trestleway complex, which has a generator, which was tested today. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I think that probably the most important thing for people to understand is that prior to the blizzards of past, and we experienced it in 2013, was that we have notification systems. We clear the roadways, unlike in the blizzard of '78, as we probably all remember the highways being clogged with vehicles and so forth. As you can see, there was many cars on the road now, as opposed to before when the storm was in full bloom and people were trapped. We also have much better snow clearing equipment, and if you go down to the highway garage, you can see Mr. Durkee's very prepared with Dorenzo, the snow removal contractor. We have some pretty significant machinery there, and he's already said there'll be 4 or 5 loaders on the roads clearing as the snow falls. So I anticipate us to be in very good shape.
Good. I know the team's always do a great shape, so thanks for spearheading all that.
Just one quick question. If we do lose electricity in the town, how do you notify, to use your code red system, if people elect that they do want to go to a shelter if the power's out for enough time?
Well, there's a couple of options, and it's based on the circumstance that's given to us. There are times when the power was out, and cable and internet and telephone copper line works. There are times when the power is out and cell phone goes down. So we have to take all of those emergencies dependent on when, in fact, we either determine evacuation, opening a shelter, and then there are times when, if we have to evacuate a particular area, we have to do it the old-fashioned way, and we'll go door to door. And we're prepared to do that. The town is broken down into sectors with the police department and the fire department. If we had to make that provision, we certainly would be able to do that.
Okay, great.
Good. All right. Thank you. I think we'll start with number one, and then we'll get to appointments. And so we have a request, thank you, Chief. We have a request from the Friends of the Library for a charity wine license, which is Saturday, March 21st, from 6:30 to 9 at Georgetown PBD Library. Fundraising program's called Books in Bloom. So, I'd entertain a motion.
Is Gloria or anyone from the Georgetown PB Library friends here? No?
I didn't see them. They were supposed to be here. I don't know if the storm has put them out, but
That's
We
fine.
thinking we start at 7.
Probably.
yeah, no, I think it's at 6:30. I think that was on the.
All right, I'll make the motion. Mr. Chairman, I
30.
move that we approve a one-day liquor license to serve wine at the Georgetown Peabody Library, 3/21/15 from 6:30 to 9 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We came to appointments. I'd like to ask Rachel to come forward, please. We had a resignation of Thomas Moore from the Conservation Commission, so I want to thank Tom for his service. We much appreciate it. And we have Rachel Bancroft, who's here this evening. Welcome, thank you. She is requesting appointment to the Conservation Commission for a term to expire June 30th of 2017. She's item number 10 on your sheet. I get a little background here. She lived in Georgetown for a year and a half, loved the charm of New England.
Let's see how that,
She,
2 days from now.
yeah, I know,
I've been
exactly.
here my whole life, so.
You're a surface pattern designer and interior designer, as well as an artist, and looking to get back into the community and raising her children. And she, being a designer, envisions things and sees things that are proposed, as well as visualize things that are the beginning of the planning process, et cetera, and appreciates the historic charm of this community and hopes that her talents can be put to good work. So welcome. Thank you for coming forward. You saw our high-tech recruitment in the electric bill, right? So that was great. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I moved here. We loved the town. We loved the way it looked. It looked very reminiscent of Rehoboth, Massachusetts, where I was born and raised. So we wanted to have the kids here, and my children are so happy being here. And I thought I wanted to give back and show them that it's something that you should do if you're planning on putting roots down anywhere.
Oh, we appreciate that. Any questions?
Well, we certainly have some tight conservation rules.
I was reading.
And there's some tough decisions to be made there, so, I think it's good to have new people, new blood, into the town, volunteering, and, I think, wanting to give back is great, so, I'm all for you.
Thank you.
I think right now, one of the things as a board that we've sort of been looking for, I don't want to speak for everybody, but
Thank you.
is diversity on that board. And so how do you feel about the job of what you're going to do. You know, you're gonna be hearing, at hearings, people looking to adjust the rules for different things, and how do you feel that you will handle that?
Well, I think each specific job will require a different way of looking at it within the bounds of what's set forth, what's appropriate for each choice, but then there's the law that you have to look at as well. But I feel firmly that protecting wetlands, protecting trees, protecting the historic nature of things is something that we should all strive for to pass down to our children as well. So I think that would be one of the number one things that I'd be looking at, and to try not to give too much wiggle room because, you know, something wanted just to be built there. Trying to find new ways to do it so that it doesn't impact the environment quite so much.
I agree with doing our best not to impact the environment, but I think the way it works in town, we've got rather strict bylaws for this, and I think that the job of the Conservation Commission is to look at that and decide whether we need to allow wiggle room. And many times you have to, and my feeling is that we've had a board that perhaps hasn't allowed it so much and doesn't have the diversity. What you said is all great things, but you also need people with open minds that are willing to look at this and say, you know, we can make this work. We can, and you did say that, but let me ask, how did you decide to go forward with the conservation job? Because there are many other open positions.
I had seen several trees that had been taken down, and I was concerned that they might have been taken down without a thought to the aesthetic of the area and the historic nature of Main Street and North Street and things like that. And I called and I spoke to Stephen, and he had said that there was always looking for volunteers, but that, you know, the Historic Society might be a slot for me to fit into. There were different things that I was looking into, and I really felt that this fit what I believed in the most, fit what I could give back to the most, being how I was raised and the different things that I was handed as a child by people who were older than I was.
If I can ask the chair a question about Mr. Moore's, or actually the rest of the board members, is anybody aware of his resignation? When?
A couple weeks back, I was talking to
Okay.
Steve. He mentioned it.
It's just that the email that I got of his resignation was back on November 4th. And that we as a board have not been aware of that until tonight. I don't know if Mike is aware of it. But that's the date that's on the email here, his resignation, November 4th.
Yes, I saw the email. I don't recall when I actually first saw it.
And I was watching one of the recent Conservation Commission meetings, and Steve you attended, which I was very happy to see. But Steve sort of presented as he found someone to fill the commissioner's place that was resigning, and I thought that nothing wrong with that. But I mean, here we are, we're not even aware of one resigned, and now we've got our agent out picking the people for us. I'm not sure that's going to get us a board that's rather diversified.
Yeah, so Rachel, I'm just going to echo and add a little to that. So, in fairness to yourself, just making sure you know what you're getting yourself into, right? I think the posture of this board is to make sure that whoever enters into that position as a volunteer looks at this with a real wide open mind. I don't think you'd be interested in joining the Conservation Commission if it wasn't something that you were passionate about. So I applaud that. And our hope is that your efforts on that board would make sure that you're looking at two things. One, not just the conservation of the land itself, but also the hardships that our tight bylaws put on individuals who own property in town. So I think I'm kind of echoing a little bit what what Gary's saying is that it's good. We want to preserve the land and the conservation aspects of Georgetown, but we don't have a lot of good land left here to build on in town, which is good and bad in some ways. We've got a lot of landlocked land. We've got a lot of wetlands in town, which, you know, I'm sure you're aware of living here, seeing a lot of the wetlands out there. So maybe you can just give a little color to how you would look at things. I mean, each individual case is different, but we just want to get a comfort level with you that,
Okay.
you know, this isn't,
I
I'm
understand
gonna go
that.
wrap my arms around a tree and not let anyone cut it down.
No, do any of you know Rehoboth, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Yep. Growing up there were a lot of wetlands and a lot of conservation areas, and I knew a lot of the historic committee and everything, and watching what happened and seeing how some people who honestly wanted to have something of beauty go up, something that would make a big impact on the community, whether it be a shop or something that could give back in the long run, they were put in a stranglehold because they couldn't do it. So I know that you have to work and you have to be able to see in the long run what's going to happen, and have an open mind as well, so that it's not just, I'm looking at it, like you said, to put my arms around a tree and not let go, and not look at the human aspect of each individual case at the same time.
I like your background, not spending experience in working in conservation before, because you have an opportunity to learn as you go here and to formulate your own opinions as you go and see and understand some of the challenges that we have with the tough bylaws that we have in town that certainly protect the town, but make it very challenging for homeowners to work on projects in town. So, okay, thank you.
Just be reasonable
Okay.
when people come to you. I think
think
that's
I
what
can
this
do that.
board is asking, just to be reasonable, look at both sides, protecting the town, but also allowing people to do the projects that they need to do to beautify their own property. And we have offenders in town too. There's been cases where we have people just taking trees down and without any approval, so we wanna make sure that, we come down, a little bit tougher on those people, rather than the homeowner that wants to extend a deck 2 feet and, the raindrops are gonna hit the trees too close and, whatever. I'm not you can tell I'm a city person. I have no clue. So,
It's
I
not
think.
hard to hide, Dave.
Yeah, the message from this group is just be reasonable on both sides of the issues, that's all. And I like the idea that, you're only here for a short period of time in town, so to me, that's good. New blood.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Rachel Bancroft to the Conservation Commission with a term to expire June 30th, 2017.
Second.
Any further discussion?
If I can, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just wanna say, I think we need to use caution going forward if our agent is out there picking the people that are going to be his bosses. I'm not so sure that's how it happened, but that's sort of the way I saw it as presented at the Conservation Commission. It's interesting you mentioned trees. I watched it, like I said, I watched that recent meeting, and trees come up a lot. But you gotta remember the cost that it costs people when they go before these boards. Sometimes they've gotta get attorneys, the work that you've gotta go through, and it's all costly. And I don't wanna become a town where a person can't cut down some trees if it's not in a wetland area where they have no jurisdiction, and I do fear that we're getting to that point. And that's, to me, is scary, that we're more concerned about the trees, I guess, than sometimes what the impact is on a family. I can't support this tonight, but basically because of how I've seen this happen. We got a resignation here as of November 4th. We're just finding out about it. We've got an agent that I feel has picked the commissioner. I don't think that's the one that should be doing it, but, so, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Um,
But thank you and
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you for coming forward. And it is a large time commitment, so I hope you have some good babysitting.
Oh, I do.
You will, you'll find you're not gonna make a lot of friends, because you're gonna be, you're not gonna please one half of the party that's coming before you. To echo Dave and the board, what we've seen in the past is a board that is extremely conservation and torturous to projects and residents. We've worked very hard to mix that board up. I feel we have a pretty good balance right now. You know, I talk to a conservation agent a lot. I know they have a tough job. Massachusetts has the hardest conservation regulations in the states, and we have the most stringent of the conservation bylaws in the state of Massachusetts. So effectively, in the United States, this town has the hardest conservation bylaws. So what you were hearing today is that there's a lot of you know, a lot of challenge there. So it is definitely, you know, be fair, be open-minded, and you know, when it comes to projects and things, it's prudent to look at you know, mediation options and, you know, all sorts of different ways to get things done. So, welcome, and your appointment papers will be ready probably by Thursday, right down at the clerk's office. And
We
you-
open again.
Yeah.
And, yeah, when and if we reopen this week, you want to hit the clerk's office to get sworn in
Okay.
and make your first meeting, and welcome, and we appreciate your volunteerism.
Thank you very much.
And good
Thank
luck.
you.
Now that we
Thank you.
scared you half to death.
I know.
Rachel, we have the utmost confidence, and we look forward to helping us out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I don't want to keep, you know, the public safety officials here too long, but, you know, who's protecting the town? Because they're all here. But, you know,
care
I'm sure it is. But to the point of process, you know, if we don't get the notice from the town clerk, you know, until now, you know, I don't see how we kind of take that out on the candidate, number one. Number two is, who else is she supposed to call besides the conservation agent to find out how do I get involved? So I don't know if he's out there hand picking. She said she called him, and he mentioned, hey, there's, you know, there's
Yes,
openings.
I
So,
heard that part.
yeah,
agree.
I don't see, you know, and I think all boards recruit, you know, and I think not just the board members, but, you know, the people that report to the boards recruit. I mean, you know, it's hard to get people as it is, you know.
Agreed.
So my only point on that is is that who else are you supposed to call? The conservation agent. Anyway, I just said my piece, so I'll just.
Well, you know,
Mr. Chair, normally what happens, especially when we make these general notifications out from the bills, they call the town office, the selectman's office, and we automatically refer them to
The department.
the department, so they can schedule a meeting and that's the only way, that's the only way we do it. They have the information, so, that's how it happens.
Why don't we move on, because I don't want to pop Rachel's balloon, because we are excited that you're coming on board. with us.
Right, exactly.
So, again, thank you.
all right, let's get to the police appointments. Chief, if you want to come up and
Thank you.
do the honors.
Good evening again. Apologize, I have a cold, so I may make some noises that I don't want to make, but it will happen.
Be careful.
Don't we all? Tonight, I'm before you with a process that I've been working on alongside our Personnel Director, Mr. Farrell, due to the numerous changes that are occurring in the police department. Since I was made chief in 2013, as this board is aware, we've had several pending retirements, and one retirement which was rather sudden because it came a year early. And a long-time dedicated employee has elected to retire this fiscal year as opposed to next fiscal year. So that pushed everything 1 year forward for us to fill some critical positions. As you know, when I became chief in 2013, I actually reduced the size of the command staff so to become more effective put some more people on the street, and eliminated a lieutenant's position in doing so. So Lieutenant Thompson is retiring March 31st, so I'm losing the only lieutenant left on the police department. So I come before the board tonight to fill that position. In addition to filling that position, I then have a deficit with a sergeant assigned to a particular patrol shift so that we have the appropriate supervision during all three of our patrol shifts. And in doing that, additionally, with the 2015 retirement that was supposed to happen in 2016, I have a full-time police officer position that has become vacant. And then the fourth appointment that I'm requesting is to fill the reserve position with the two reserve positions I'm losing as a result of Officer Broderick coming out of the academy to replace Lieutenant Thompson's position. Body only, the FTE remains the same, it's just everybody's moving up one. And as opposed to appointing two reserves, tonight I'm only appointing one, with the hope that that will be enough for us to sustain our current staffing levels. The only unfortunate thing is the reserve dispatcher who I'm requesting appointment is out of the country on vacation. Good for him. That was planned months in advance, so he's extremely disappointed that he cannot be here. But I trust that the board will listen to my presentation relative to this individual. He is currently an employee for the town of Georgetown, so he's been vetted. He's been working for us for over a year now as a reserve dispatcher, so I'm very comfortable in his assignment to reserve officer. So the first appointment I'd like to bring before you tonight is Sergeant Scott Hatch. If you can come up, Sarge. I know most of you know Sergeant Scott Hatch. He's been working for the police department since 1987, where he started as a reserve dispatcher. I myself started in 1985, so I've worked with now Sergeant Hatch for almost 30 years now.
And you still talk to each other.
And we still talk to each other. Great colleagues, high school friends. We went to school together. After becoming a dispatcher, the sergeant became a reserve officer in '89 and then full-time in 2000. He's had an extensive career as a paramedic and as a supervisor for one of the largest ambulance companies in the United States. Very successful with that. He's been our EMD director, emergency medical director, for many years. Married 26 years to his wife Kathy, has two children, Michael and Casey. He resides in Bradford. I will not take all of your time as to what he does for the police department because it's many things. He took many of my responsibilities when I made chief, and he's done them well. He's our accreditation manager, among 1,000 other things that he does for us. So I'm actually very excited and proud to bring him before you tonight to replace the retiring lieutenant and become the executive officer of the Georgetown Police Department.
Any questions?
Fine by me.
Gentlemen?
I'll make the motion if you want.
Sure.
I have a question.
Sure.
Just on these appointments here, so there's a period where there's an acting position till 3/31/2015,
That's correct.
and what is that? I'm sorry, I was trying to follow your org chart mentally.
Sure.
What happened?
retirement, right?
I lost you after
Well,
the second person.
what's happening is the current lieutenant is retiring March 31st. In order to create a smooth transition,
Yep.
sergeants agreed to take this acting position from the appointment tomorrow, tonight, whenever it becomes effective
Gotcha.
for his swearing in, without pay, so that everything remains budget neutral until the lieutenant retires till April 1st. In that time period, we're able to post the appropriate schedules for the satisfy the union contract, get everybody in place so that when that retirement occurs, it's very smooth without any delay in having somebody in command, especially being we only have one lieutenant, and with 34 personnel, it's nice to have somebody to lean on.
Gotcha. Thank you for that explanation.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Sergeant Hatch to acting lieutenant from 1/27/2015 to 3/31/2015.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you have something to say before?
I did, because
Oh.
then I'd like to appoint him full-time lieutenant from April 1st until
Right.
So
that's
we'll
the
make
next-
a, we'll make a
Okay,
separate.
Okay, you're
that's
gonna
the
make it a
next
separate
one.
motion.
Two separate
Yep.
motions, yeah.
Did we
Aye.
get, okay, did we get
Aye.
our ayes?
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move that we move acting Lieutenant Hatch to full-time, full lieutenant, 4/1/215 to 6/30/2015.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We have Mrs. Hatch, his mother, in the audience tonight to pin the new lieutenant's badge. As everyone knows, Mrs. Hatch was a lifetime employee for the town of Georgetown, walking these halls since this building's been here. And how many years?
43, I think.
43 years. So if we can ask Mrs. Hatch to come up to do the pinning, that would be
That'd be fabulous.
That'd be great.
Come on
Mrs.
up.
Hatch, it's okay if you slip a little when you pin him.
We already talked about
Stick,
that.
it's a white shirt.
Make sure you dig deep when you pin them, all right? I know.
We're gonna all sleep.
Sorry.
Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I got a little bit of cold.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, sorry, Stu.
All right, next victim.
Well, we're definitely setting some records tonight. I don't think there's ever been so many appointments/promotions for the police department. But the next person I bring to you is Detective Rodden, another longtime employee of the police department. The detective grew up in Beverly before coming to Georgetown. He's got a bachelor's degree at Salem State College. He was hired as a reserve. I actually was the one who recruited him one lonely night on North Street at an accident scene when he drove by. He had another department's uniform on, and he told me he lived in Georgetown. Well, that lasted all of a month, and now he's here. He was hired as a full-time officer in 2004 and graduated from the 12th MPOC Police Academy. And he served as our SRO, school resource officer, for just about 3.5 years during that tenure. So Detective Rodden's a popular officer here in Georgetown, and he was promoted to detective in 2008. He's married with 2 children, Patrick and Alyssa, and lives in Georgetown here with his wife, Chris. It's nice to have a command staff member living in Georgetown. We lean on them heavily because they have a very, very, very strong vested interest, and it's good to have our officers living in Georgetown. So I submit to you Detective Jim Rodden to the promotion of patrol sergeant with the same acting stipulation as now Lieutenant Hatch, budget neutral for the acting position, and then the position will take effect April 1st.
Fantastic.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint Detective Rodden to acting patrol sergeant, period 1/27/2015 to 3/31/2015.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, I further move that we move acting patrol sergeant Rodden to patrol sergeant 4/1/2015 to 6/30/2015.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I
All
appreciate
right.
that.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I have the sergeant's daughter here, Alyssa. She's going to pin his badge. So if you could indulge us with another ceremony.
Alyssa, you don't get too many opportunities
Yeah, there you
to
go.
get back
That
at you.
one did
Yeah,
really
yeah,
deep.
right
Back
there.
at your dad.
Payback time. He's got the vest on anyway, so he won't feel it.
That's
Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Fist bump.
Congratulations.
Well done. Thank you very much.
So you're gonna backfill as detective at some point?
I will, but we're not gonna do that right now. We hope to get everybody in place, get our new positions in place so that we can take a breath, and Detective Godu will be very busy. But it's good for him. Officer Ballard?
You have one arm paper hanger, won't it?
Yes. Well, on that light, though, I mean, obviously, Sergeant Rodden does not lose any of that responsibility. He has extensive training, has a phenomenal success rate, so those skills are not going away. He's just getting more responsibility, that's all. So he still will be leaned upon heavily with that, so welcome aboard, Sergeant. I bring to you tonight Officer Joanne Ballard. She's a reserve officer here in Georgetown, but also a full-time dispatcher. Joanne grew up in Newburyport and educated in the city of Newburyport. Salem State graduate with a BS in Education and Mathematics. She's currently living in Hampton, married to Stephen Morrissey. Very proud mother of 2 children, both in the United States Navy. One currently serving in Japan, and her son is heading off to Greece. And her family has experience in law enforcement. I believe your brother's in the audience?
Yes.
He is?
Jim.
Sergeant with the Essex County Sheriff's Department. Joanne began as a dispatcher here in 2004 and became a reserve officer in 2006. And as we know, in Georgetown, we don't have many female officers that apply here in Georgetown. So we were blessed with Joanne coming on as a full-time dispatcher and now as a police officer. There was an extensive assessment with 6 candidates. That assessment included a physical fitness examination, which they all had to take to get here. Joanne scored very high against her peers, and as a result of an assessment, a full-day assessment, took almost 11 hours by the time we were done with the assessment. She scored the highest, and extremely proud to present her tonight as a full-time police officer in Georgetown. The greatest accomplishment, though, is the Georgetown Police Department has not appointed a female officer in 40 years. 40 years. So I went back in the records, and it was March of 1975. So the monumental feat of Officer Ballard coming on board is, it's exciting for me personally and for our police department. So I think that as we sit here tonight with breaking many records with appointments and promotions, that Officer Ballard has really taken the next step here, and it's going to be an absolute delight to have a full-time police officer in Georgetown, and especially someone with her talents, and to bring our department. You speak of diversity, Mr. Fowler, so I think that we're excited, and her peers support her, and this is just a great night for her.
Fantastic.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I know if you look at the appointment, it's difficult because with the training requirements in Massachusetts, I have two challenges. I have to get her into an academy, and the academies in Massachusetts are a challenge unto themselves. So the timeline, as you read that appointment, is contingent upon her completing that academy. And under Massachusetts general law, the appointment has to include that. I have a document for you to sign tonight, which she's already agreed to and signed, which has very specific guidelines pursuant to the appointment of full-time officers before they get into the academy. If I'm not able to get her into the academy after the appointment, I have to apply for a waiver, which I will be granted, and then she goes into the next academy.
Very good.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Reserve Officer Ballard to full-time patrol, I don't know if that's politically correct, patrolman, effective 3/9/2/15 or 6/30, is it really?
You can say full-time police officer.
There we go. Yeah, it says patrolman, full-time police officer.
That's what the contract says.
That's right, 3/9/2/15 to 6/30/2/15.
I'll second that.
Read it
Any
what was there.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And tonight, obviously, with Joanne's children proudly serving, her husband is here, Stephen, to pin her badge. I know she's already been pinned once as a reserve, but she's gonna be pinned as a full-time officer.
Great.
Fantastic.
Hey, that's not.
Payback.
Always think the best.
Probably get some Velcro patches and we can.
Yeah,
Make it easy.
ceremonial
Just for
stuff.
tonight, you know, these days.
Thinking outside the box, there you go.
Who's coming?
Hey, buddy. There he goes.
Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome, congratulations.
So good, thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome.
One more.
And finally, and we'll leave you folks alone, as I
be
said, Dave Roschetti is currently a reserve dispatcher, and he is out of the country on a family vacation, so he was saddened that he could not be here tonight. But Dave came to us last year as a civilian dispatcher and was originally a Haverhill Auxiliary police officer. As you know, at the police department, we tend to try and have folks serve in a dispatch capacity, so there's a vetting process there. He completed the physical fitness exam with absolutely no problems. He actually set a record on the run. He currently works for Oracle Corporation as a sales representative working for us, and he's coming on as a reserve officer. He has family ties here in Georgetown. He is married to one of the Donahoe girls down on Village Lane, so he comes with family here in Georgetown, currently residing in North Andover. So I request tonight that you that you appoint him to reserve officer with an expiration of June 30th of 2015. He's already completed the Reserve Academy, so he has a field training protocol to go through, which would probably take about 2 months. But he's well-versed in our operation since he's been working there, so it should be a smooth transition for us.
All right.
Might as well do the last one, right? Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Reserve Dispatcher David Roschetti to Reserve Officer for a period of 1/27/215 to 6/30/215.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Right.
All right.
Thank you,
Chief.
Mr. Chairman.
Done?
Good luck,
Thank you, Board.
everybody.
And
Congratulations to your team.
Yes.
And
rest your backs, you're gonna need them for tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I have your cell phone number, don't worry.
I know you do.
Good luck on the storm. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
Yeah,
everything.
good luck.
Congratulations,
Congratulations again to all
everybody.
those up there.
And paperwork will be at the town clerk's office when the local everybody gets sworn in.
I'm sorry.
They'll sign the paperwork tonight, but
Okay.
the paperwork will be.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Oh, yeah, you.
Oh, yeah,
I have a form here that, just one letter, Officer Ballard had already signed it. In short, it's a provision. It's basically, it affords the town protections in the event there is no completion of the
Just for
academy.
this, just for the chair?
Yes,
Okay.
please. If you'd like to look it over for a minute, I can certainly wait.
No question. I do snow removal at a preschool and a farm over
Mr.
there.
Chairman, request for a 5-minute recess.
I mean, nobody does.
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, you
Want to announce
consider
it so the
yourself,
TV
if you
goes
go
Yeah,
out?
we're
to
gonna
any
do
stage
a
you
5-minute
want,
recess.
that would, that you're essential personnel because you have to get to that school to keep it.
So, yeah, they usually say essential personnel, right?
Just use that term.
Right, yep, okay, thanks. I didn't wanna tie up, because they told me. thought earlier.
Yep, we're back, all right. Still under appointments and approvals, we have a request from the Economic Development Committee to appoint 2 associate members. That would be Wayne Snow and Andrew Cliff, to terms to expire June 30th of 2015. I'd entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we appoint Wayne Snow and Andrew Cliff as associate members to the Economic Development Council to terms to expire on June 30th, 2015.
All right, any discussion?
I'll second, and there's, yes, Mr. Chairman, if I might ask you a question. Maybe to Janet, how many openings are on that committee? Do we have any permanent, because I have had somebody contact me that's interested in serving on the Economic Development Committee. Do we have any other openings?
There weren't any other, because we reduced it from 7 to 5, I think it was.
Yeah, it was still getting displayed as a place with openings.
Oh,
I think that
really?
would be,
Okay.
yes.
So with these 2 appointments, that committee is full.
Yeah, they didn't have any these are 2 associate members, because
Right.
they've had some interest, so they just,
But
Board
we're
asked.
full as far as full-time members.
yes, yes.
Okay.
All right,
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Wayne and Andrew.
Yes, we much appreciate it. We have a license renewal to expire December 31st, 2015. It's a common victualler license for Village Sub and Pizza.
Everything in good order?
Yes.
Chair, I move that we renew the license for the common victualler license to, for Village Sub and Pizza with the term to expire December 31st, 2015.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Janet, do we need to sign this one too? This is on the, no?
No,
Okay, just the back page.
yeah, that was for them.
Okay. And you could scribble on that for us. We took care of that. There's a request from Ruth Effort to declare various computer equipment surplus property. That's item number 2 in your packet. Somebody wants to make a motion?
Chair, I move that we accept the declaration of surplus personal property from Ruth at the library.
Second?
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, I've got one. I know you asked me to be quiet, but I can't.
No, I'm only
I
kidding.
can't leave this alone. On the second page, the last one down.
The second item, keyboard?
No, the
Or
last one
speakers?
down. We've got, they're looking to get rid of 30 mice that are still working, and I just want, are we gonna have to pay unemployment or anything for this?
No, they're in a trap. You just got their little
I'm
legs stuck
wondering
in a
what they're
trap.
doing, you know?
Oh, the mice?
The mice.
That's multiple mouses.
Mices. Mice? Mice? I don't
No,
know.
they call, yeah, that's mice. Yeah, dirty
Mice.
mice.
They got their little paws stuck in a little trap there,
I
guys.
guess that's the proper way. If
Yeah,
you've got, if
that's
you got a
right.
mouse and you got more than one, I guess they,
That's
they
mice.
become mice.
Mice.
I guess.
Correct. All right, all those in favor?
Could be worse, there could be rats.
Aye.
Aye.
Of course.
Open yourself up for that one, Mr. Chairman.
Da da da. You know, where's the
Put it
drum roll?
boom.
Yes.
We're here every Monday night. No,
Where
really. Every
is
other
the
Monday
drum
night.
roll? Dave is here every other Monday night. Most times, every
Most.
other Monday night.
Yes, I'm traveling.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm digging through a packet for something here. Hold on. Where did I put it?
While
Hold
you're
on.
doing that, I'm gonna approve the minutes. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes for January 5th, 2015, for our 6:30 general meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll abstain. I was not present.
All right, I just want to send out our condolences to the Spalding family. Fire Chief Spalding, Buddy Spalding, left quite a lasting mark on our fire department, serving from 1953 until his retirement in 1994. He passed away last week. And Chief Spalding continued to serve on the fire department after retirement as a member of the Board of Engineers until 2001. And looking at Central Fire, you'll see a lot of items on hand in working in development that Chief Spalding was involved in, and he stopped by somewhat recently for one final visit, and his funeral was on Saturday, and Mr. Trapani was gracious enough to be able to make it. Unfortunately, I could not make it, but thank you for.
Sure, I want to
And-
thank the fire department for their honor guard, and there's some police officers there helping out, so it was just a nice small ceremony.
Good. And our condolences to the family, and he will be missed, and we applaud his dedication and service to the town of Georgetown in all of his capacities in the fire department, and particularly as chief.
Great.
Everybody signed the warrant. We got minutes taken care of. We have an acceptance of funds that we need to do from the Georgetown Athletic Association for the artificial turf field in the term of sum of $44,000, which will go to 2 lights on the new turf field. So entertain a motion.
I have some questions on this.
So moved.
All
I'll
right.
second it, but I have some questions.
Discussion.
So, a couple of quick questions on this. Does this go to the general fund, Mike, or does this go to the school fund?
It goes to the general fund, and it's gonna be used to pay for the installation, which, actually, it's already been installed.
Okay, so it's specifically earmarked. Is there any type of donation agreement? I know that a letter of intent that goes along with this to say, other than just an email, is there anything formal that's supposed to be signed on that?
No, it's just the email.
Just the email?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that suffices as far as treasurer's,
Yes.
town treasurer's concerned?
Okay.
All right.
Great. Any further discussion?
So you're saying that you did get the letter, it was in an email form?
It's right here, isn't it? Is this it?
Yeah, this is, should be, is it, it's attached?
Yeah, it says,
isn't
please accept this email as proof of our intent for that donation.
Yes,
And the treasurer's office.
And that's good enough for her, for her to earmark that money
yes.
in the
it
general
is.
fund,
Then
once we accept it.
Right, the treasurer has been holding that money, holding
It's in
that
the
check.
safe.
In the safe.
Did we put that in the motion? Jenna, can you read back the motion?
The motion was to accept 44,000 from the Georgetown Athletic Association for the artificial turf field.
Yeah, I'd like to amend that motion, Mr. Chairman, if I could, to include the purchase of the final 2 lights on the baseball field at the Georgetown Middle High School.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's
Aye.
on the amendment, right?
Yep, all those in favor on the original motion?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you to the GAA for that, and we're looking forward to getting on the turf field this spring, which would be fantastic. We have a draft of the annual town meeting warrant for Monday, May 4th, 2015. Mike, do you want to run through the draft, or if there's any questions?
Sure, right now, it's pretty standard, regular, every year type, articles. The operating budget, stabilization, and the consent, and the consent calendar. Creating, we're not creating any, but we're renewing revolving funds, primarily accepting Chapter 90 reimbursements, the municipal light department continuing budget operations, the water department budget, town operating budget. Some of these are placeholders. We don't know, when we get to the meeting or the actual posting, if these will be there. For instance, other post-employment benefit trust fund. We established the fund. We haven't put any money in there since the first year. There's $50,000.
Right, there's money in there though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does.
You all might be, I'm sure everybody's gonna be thrilled, because every year, I get the question is, when is our last payment for the $77,000?
This is it, right?
Fire truck.
And where's it coming from?
This, one question at a time.
Stab
This,
fund.
this is the last payment.
Hey,
As of,
Don't get all excited because you got
Wow.
new trucks coming.
July of this year. So, but as Stu
You got new trucks
mentioned,
coming,
we,
so it'll come
we will
back.
probably need a new truck,
Ladder truck
starting
or,
next year. Not a ladder
No.
truck.
right, we need a new pumper,
engine.
right?
Yeah.
An engine, yeah.
Yep.
So that 77 will probably keep
Won't be
rolling-
quite that much,
rolling
but it'll
that.
be similar.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, what would be helpful is to get a reconciliation of free cash, also, an updated reconciliation of free
absolutely,
cash.
yeah.
In the next month or so, or next, for maybe for the next meeting, if you can. Just kind of figure out where this is all coming from. I know that's mostly FinCom's, but I like to kind of,
Right, well, we haven't even, except for the voting machines, that's about the only,
yeah, where are we getting this money?
yeah, that's about the only CIP item that we,
Okay.
have on the warrant right now.
The town hall fence,
Where'd that come from? Yeah.
yeah, where's that coming from?
I just carried it over from
Historic Commission.
the last warrant.
I thought we were gonna do a paint job on this or something.
No, I thought we were gonna do,
Or half of it or something. I heard.
rip it down and put up trees,
I
arborvitae.
haven't, this shouldn't be on here. There's no plans, there was no presentation at CIP. Unless somebody comes up with a petition warrant article, there's no plans on replacing the
So
fence.
we can scratch
Yeah,
that
let's
tonight.
scratch that.
Yeah.
Take that out.
Do we need to
Voting
make a
machines, I
motion?
thought Janet was gonna put it off for another year, or no, does she need it for this spring? She wants it on the spring, she didn't need it in the fall.
Correct, she put it off from the fall to the spring.
She wanted to have them for an election before, the presidential.
Oh,
So they have,
okay.
have time to.
Yeah, so that'll make
A
sense.
full election cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that'll
Three
make
brand
sense
new
to get it going.
Yes.
All three are being replaced, I think, right?
Yes.
Transfer from overlay surplus.
This
What's
one
that one?
is a new one. The,
Assessor's gonna give us some money again?
no, this is going to the assessors. They have a couple of legal issues that will be, that it probably won't be resolved this fiscal year. They want to be assured that, the money that's in the overlay surplus, they're gonna need it as a backstop in case they lose their, the
Oh,
appeals.
okay.
But this says from rather than to. Is that
Yeah, it's coming, it's already in the overlay surplus,
Oh, all
but
right.
that we have to appropriate
Oh,
it
okay.
out.
To the reserve?
Yes,
Okay, got it.
All right.
and they'll have a number.
So that's a
for it,
cost
sure.
neutral for us. That's.
It is,
right.
yeah, absolutely
What's
no
the-
tax impact.
What's the fire department calibration thing? What's that one? You know?
My notes here from the chief.
No, I
Says
don't.
on there.
When are we on, Stu?
The one after the surplus, it's ATM 1522.
Okay, we'll get it.
It was a
when we-
request by the fire chief, but,
Okay.
it wasn't a CIP item because of the amount. Same thing with the,
Here's the stuff that's in there.
AED as well.
So are we, I thought the fire department got a grant for AEDs.
Oh, okay, the calibration is, they are receiving,
It's matching funds.
yes, a grant for, gas, detectors,
Oh, the gas
gas
meters?
meters.
Yeah, okay.
But they need to purchase, a calibration system for them to make sure they're accurate. And then, the chief, is also requesting funding for townwide purchase and training and maintenance of automatic external defibrillators. We don't have very many of them in any public buildings.
Okay.
Well, we just were awarded the hot, healthy community because we had these things
So
in
we don't
place.
need them?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we don't need them. We're all on Lipitor or something.
Well, they have them on, you know,
No, I'm being serious. I thought we had them in the right places in order to get that designation.
we have them in all our police cruisers and in
Okay.
all the fire apparatus. We don't have, I know we don't have
In
one here
schools.
in.
They're in the schools.
We could have
think
applied
there's-
and possibly got 50% matching money
Yeah,
if
we don't have any in the town hall, that's for certain.
Well, Trestle Way is getting some courtesy of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay.
So
All
we're
right.
gonna give them some money for that, so. that,
No,
so.
I think
You got
that's,
an estimate of cost? Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, we should have them.
The ADs are,
2,500 piece, I think.
there's not a cost listed at this point.
Okay.
It's early yet,
I think
so.
they run around 2,500.
All right.
I thought they were looking for some grants on that too, or maybe it was a few years ago they had gotten some grants for
That was
some.
when that thing that we did get the award, that I think they
They did
went
get
out
some?
work trying to make sure certain
Okay.
places got them installed.
Okay.
And the chief is also requesting funds for maintenance of
Engine one.
engine one. He's got
At the rear end?
estimate of about $12,000. No, it's pump gauges and discharge valves.
Oh, okay. There was something with a rear end on one of the trucks that was an issue.
Yeah, that's one of the older, a different vehicle. I
Okay.
think that's the one that's actually gonna be
Replaced.
slated for replacement.
Okay. CPC, that's a placeholder, right? Or do we have, oh, this is all this stuff under here.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
memo from the CPC committee for the different items that they haven't voted yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're
So this is just a
saying,
placeholder?
Yeah, these are things they might be looking at.
Yeah, we did the other night knock
Oh, okay.
3 things off, and these are the ones that remain.
Are you comfortable with what you've been saying on it, on those, that they're bringing forward?
Yeah, and this is where you might have seen you'll see a little about halfway down Town Hall shrub fence. That's what you were talking about. We have a proposal also to, yes, take the fence down and,
Do shrub?
yes.
I know, it was either last fall, might have been last fall, or last summer. I was talking to, I'm blanking his name, Noonan's, and,
Steve.
yeah, thank you, Steve, and he said that if we talk to them, they'll probably donate the bushes,
No, I got.
arborvitae's or whatever, for that in lieu of a fence.
Yep.
So I thought a green fence there of arborvitae would be great. you
Well,
know?
we're looking at the same type that's down in the front here, and I believe it's on the side here possibly.
Yeah, okay.
I saw
Okay.
it earlier.
So this is placeholders is bond costs, housing authority storm doors, affordable housing trust block grant, trust rental grant, Dunbar Tavern, digitization of historic documents, the shrub fence, American Legion Park restoration phase 3, Pocket Park. What's Pocket Park?
That's a
Where's that?
proposal for in the corner of the Dunbar Tavern.
Oh, the little
Possibly
corner.
putting
Yep.
these-
Okay.
yep.
Gotcha. Right. I remember that. East Main Street Rec Facility Phase 1 completion costs, Open Space Active Rec land purchase, and GYSA West Street improvements.
They're gonna be giving a presentation anyway, right, to FinCom and all these items?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Mike, on that particular issue, has FinCom just picked a date? You know how they did that one-day symposium last year on the budget? Have they picked a date on that yet?
Yes, it's
Gonna do the same thing?
first Saturday in March.
Okay,
Matter of fact, there's an updated schedule in the budget book.
okay. Oh, all right, it's right in the book we got tonight?
Yep.
Okay.
It's in yellow, the calendar, so you
Yeah.
can find it. It's like in the first section.
Okay, I'll find it. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
It has all the dates of the meetings on it.
Speaking of which, we were going to present the budget to the Budget Committee Wednesday night, but they have canceled because of the weather, and are going to be holding their first budget review meeting a week from Wednesday. I think it's the 4th.
Okay. I'm out of town that week of the budget presentation, so is anyone gonna be able to make that Saturday? From the
Saturday,
board?
I'll try my best to get there. I'm out in DC the
7th
next day.
March?
I'm in Washington the next day.
Saturday the 7th. You might be able to make it too?
I usually do.
I know you do.
So can we
Appreciate that.
post,
I'm
maybe
not gonna
just,
commit, but.
Oh, we
I-
will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, I know you're really good at that, and unfortunately, I'm out of town that week. All right, and then basically, the solar facilities, this is gonna be, the bylaw, right? Cleaning up the bylaw for it,
Yes.
solar, okay.
Mhm.
Use regulations and intensity of use schedule.
I mean, Howard's gonna come in and explain these to us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's accessory apartments too. I'd like to know, by making this change, what
What
that
that,
does.
yeah, what's the impact?
What's the impact?
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Okay,
Is
Any-
that, okay.
anybody see any issues or questions on this?
Well, the only thing is, do we wanna vote tonight to knock that, ATM 15-19 off? And replace town hall fence and,
Sure, make a motion.
Well, they're all on their draft too. I mean, I can just take that off now. I mean,
It's
you haven't
not
voted
posted
on
yet.
any
You
of them.
haven't
Yeah, we have
closed the
voted.
warrant.
Yeah.
no, I
Closed it.
realize that, but
Voted on
I'm just saying, why don't, I mean, if it doesn't need to be a motion, but I think we're,
Well, in agreement that goes,
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't need it.
that's fine, we can remove that. Is there any other questions or concerns on any of these? Mike, I thought,
I did have one,
yeah, I have one too. I thought the revolving
that
funds
was it.
for,
Ambulance, fire?
no,
We
for,
had some
something.
road machinery, we
yeah,
had
road
several we're looking
machinery
to take
and,
off, so.
and the local access?
Yeah,
Aren't those going away?
those will be on here. The last 2 weeks, Janet was out sick 1 week, and I was out sick the other week, so we didn't get together on those yet.
But those will,
They'll be,
they'll be gone? Aren't those changing? Wasn't that part of the mass?
there'll be warrant articles to
Remove them.
remove them,
Okay.
yes.
The one thing about the local access, the money that comes in, that cannot be spent on anything but local access programming. By contract, i.e. with Verizon and Comcast. So
I understand.
just make sure that,
I realize
realize that.
that is the understanding, yes.
yeah, but it's actually written into the contracts. So just be aware of that.
I
Okay.
am aware of it.
Okay, I just wanna make sure. I know there was concerns about that in the past when I was sitting on that board. Okay, any other questions or concerns on these?
that, if we remove the revolving account, then you've got another method of tracking it, so that we, I mean,
Yes.
From a line item,
Well, it would have to be, it would have to be the problem is, according to the DOR, it's supposed to be a general fund revenue. What it says in the contract and what the law says are maybe at odds.
yeah, you might wanna
we
review that with town
we
council
can't be
then.
the only municipality out there
That's right,
with this, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, as I had understood it, other municipalities have it as a revolving fund. So you might check the contract and then just have legal look at it.
Oh, without a doubt,
Okay.
yeah.
Because that could be
But
an
just,
issue.
you know, it's the old adage, just because everybody else does
Yeah,
it,
right.
does it,
Agreed.
doesn't make it
Yeah,
right.
no, I know, yeah, okay.
Matter of fact, probably the reason why it's wrong.
Maybe other people are doing it wrong,
Yeah.
exactly. Could be. All right, are there any other questions on the warrant or issues or anything? Okay.
There isn't for the annual town meeting warrant. There's a slight technicality for the special spring town meeting. We never opened the warrant for the special town meeting.
Which one, the last one?
Really?
No,
For the coming one.
Right.
For the May, we,
Oh,
so,
Chair, I move
and
that
that's
we
item 8, right? Okay.
correct.
Gotcha,
open
G
the
adjustments, gotcha.
special town meeting warrant, which will take place on May 4th, 2015.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So, and then as far as,
We never opened that, I thought we did.
no, we never, Janet pointed that out to me,
Okay.
we just never, we never.
Thanks for the details,
We
Jan.
never opened it. Now, these warrants are scheduled to be closed at our next meeting, or we actually had a date specific, which was February 16th, I believe.
Right.
Or 14th.
the 16th,
16th.
but that's,
We don't have a meeting scheduled, it's President's Day. So we're going to have to extend the closing of the warrant to the following, so we'll
The
leave it open
23rd,
two
I
more
think.
weeks.
Okay. All right.
So that's,
There's no issues with timing on that, then we're good.
no,
Let me ask you, on, on the special town meeting, Article 2, Reserve Fund for Accrued Liabilities, is that the OPEB?
no, that's for our retirees.
Yep.
Oh, the
basically.
retirees, gotcha.
And that's gonna
okay.
come out of free cash, right?
Uh,
Probably.
Free cash or reserve fund,
Okay.
depends on how much we have in each,
Yeah.
either one of them.
Again, that'd be nice to know where we are with those.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And as you know, we have, as the chief pointed out, we have an additional retirement that we hadn't anticipated.
Right.
So, that, we're gonna get hard in that area, probably to the tune of,
Reschedule.
$50,000 or $60,000 total.
Great. Yeah, a little just note, was it last year? When was that? Was it last year the storm we had for
No, it was
town
almost
meeting?
2 years ago,
2
right?
years ago?
2 years ago.
So 2 years ago, and that was the fall town meeting, I think, right? Must, no, was it spring? It was spring town meeting.
Hurricane Sandy.
Right, it was,
Yeah.
it was Sandy.
Wasn't it?
I don't remember, but okay, so right, it was hurricane or something, nor'easter or
Hurricane.
something like that. So, a couple of years ago, Springtown meeting, we postponed it, and per Mass state law, we had to have a quorum, physically go down to the school and take a vote. They did it by candlelight or something like that. Lantern light. And from that experience, we were all kind of thinking, this is kind of crazy. So Mr. Surface and our town administrator, Mr. Farrell, went to Senator Tarr and said, hey, this is an antiquated rule. Can we get it changed? It took 2 years, but it finally got changed. So now what would be the method for changing or postponing town meeting in the event of an emergency? Pretty much just a
The
phone call?
well, the
State of emergency.
moderator
Yeah, moderator has the,
so declares.
So declare a state of emergency or whatever.
has to be
So-
extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. So no longer will people have to go out in the middle of a storm and actually stand in front of the location of town meeting and take a vote. So thank you, Senator Tarr, you two gentlemen, for doing that and bringing that up. And
We wanted to name that the Georgetown Amendment. Mike and I actually went in front of a Senate hearing
right.
at the State House.
Joint
Change it
hear-
statewide.
Joint hearing, that's right, that
Joint
was a
hearing.
joint hearing on both sides of the aisle.
yeah, so that was interesting, and little Georgetown making an impact on Massachusetts once again, you know.
The last acts of
Yeah,
Governor
Governor-
Deval Patrick.
Financial management review from Department of Revenue discussion. Mike, do you have any update on the defining the purpose of spring and annual town and
Yes,
fall meetings, special town meetings?
a little elusive, but what I have boiled down is it's kind of a chart and a guideline based on the different types of articles that can appear on a warrant. I'm not saying this is all inclusive, but this is generally the types of articles, warrant articles that you'll see. And I've made suggestions as to, you know, whether they would be appropriate for an annual town meeting or a special town meeting, or either or both. By law, you can have any of these at any meeting.
Doesn't matter, right?
This would be a policy decision, because if somebody.
Best efforts?
Yeah, if somebody were the last one, a private petition, that can happen anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, even if
if things were properly petitioned.
Yeah, because that is a little more restrictive for the special town meeting, correct? I think it goes from 10 to 100 or something like that.
That is correct. The annual town meeting only requires a petition of 10 registered voters, and the special town meeting is 100. And actually, it goes a little further. If somebody wants a petition to hold a special town meeting, they need 200 registered voters to petition the selectmen to hold the meeting.
So annual town meeting, all you need is 10 attendees?
No, 10 people to sign a petition
Oh, okay, for a private
place it-
petition.
to
Gotcha, okay,
place a warrant on the
gotcha, okay,
an article on the warrant.
okay. So the purpose of this is really, I mean, I know we've talked about it, if we don't need to spend the money for special town meeting, we don't wanna do that. And ultimately, that's the purpose of us trying to define that, to try and get as much into annual town meeting and try and forego special town meetings, right? That's really the long game here?
Well, the cost is one of the main reasons. The reason to hold, whether at an annual town meeting or a special town meeting, is the thought is that, and it's not the case here in Georgetown, but in most towns, more people attend the annual town meeting than any special town meeting. We have trouble getting quorums for either, which is 100 people. So that was the DOR's reasoning in making this recommendation, that items, big ticket items, major
Budget
bylaw changes, things like that, should only be taken up when you have the chance to have the most people present at the meeting. That doesn't, not to say though, however, when we had the vote on the Pembroke School, that was at a special town meeting, but it you know, we had 400 or 500 people at the meeting. So it depends on what rallies the interest of the voters, really.
Yeah, okay. So we're looking basically for an SOP on this, right? That's where we're headed with this?
So I would think that the next logical step for us is to review this, come to our next meeting with any questions, we can debate it, and then give you the guidance to put any changes if needed to that document so we can rest this.
Yes.
So I think we're all in pretty much agreement for the most part, but let's have that conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
So is the goal then on the next meeting to come back and say, okay, we don't want an either or both column, we want to have an ATM only and then an STM only?
No, there's situations where you don't have the choice of either or both, like citizens petition,
Right.
so it has to stay there.
If we agree with this guidance, if not, let's come to the table and have
Okay,
a
and then you can move an
conversation.
X here or
And
an
then
X
that
there.
would give the guidance to Mike at the will and pleasure of what we want to do, and he can
Okay.
document it.
Yeah, as it says, I think it's guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're okay with it, I guess we'd just share it with the other boards and committees
Yeah.
so that they understand it,
It's really an SOP.
but,
Okay.
And if you notice, a lot of those things that are in the third column can actually qualify as an emergency or an unforeseen issue.
Right.
yeah. No, it
That's
looks-
why, you know, it might be okay to do it, you know, purchase of real estate if the opportunity
Right, yeah.
presents itself and it needs to be addressed right away, or a grant that we didn't know about in the spring became available in the fall.
Steve gets that in his mailbox or email it to him so he can look at it for the next round. Okay. All right, great.
To remember, as guidelines, that's what it is. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that things can't be moved around.
Right.
It's just,
True.
this is the way we
Yeah,
like,
that's-
we feel it should happen.
Okay. Good. Good work, Mike. Budget update?
Yes, well, this is the FY 16 budget, you have in front of you. As per usual, at this time of year, it's definitely a work in progress. But it's, you know, things are pretty far along, definitely as far as the department heads are concerned. They've submitted their budgets, they were submitted right around Christmas time. And I've had it since then, and we've been putting it together. Just to give you a general feel of where we're at, under tab, we changed the numbers of the tabs, I think. No, tab number 3 is your roll-up part. All the individual tabs now actually do physically and digitally roll up into this.
Oh, good.
Jim Lacy of the
FinCom.
Finance Committee's, who was actually the developer of the original summary sheet, actually sat down this winter and tied
Created
them
them.
all
Nice.
together.
Spreadsheet whiz that he is, huh?
Absolutely.
Great.
So.
Really helpful.
It's looking good, too.
Absolutely, and yeah, we're, you know, like I said, we're far away from the finish line, but at this point, the expenditures are only up 2%, 2.03%, and we're looking at very conservative revenue estimates, and that the revenue estimates are up 2.2%. This does include utilizing the newly approved meals tax. I'm estimating we'll receive $50,000. That's part of the state revenues.
Dave owes me $2.82.
6 cents a beer, baby.
Oh, that's gonna go up tonight, by the way, too.
That's true. Tab's going north, man.
The, all the departments are, you know, were very stringent. There's only a couple, really, that I'd point out under special programs, down by the human services.
Yep.
That $35,000 increase is solely towards the Council on Aging budget.
So she submitted hers already?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's in one of these tabs. You
Okay.
can see exactly, most of it is for staff costs. There's a small item there for maybe $10,000, $11,000 for additional costs, equipment, things like that associated with expanding the programs. And the only other department that has any, what I would call a significant increase is the police department. Unlike most of the other departments where the wage increases were kept at 1.5%, there were some other benefits. We in the police department, actually, we expanded the Quinn bill. They call it a baby Quinn.
Right.
And because we had some officers that were on the,
tiered.
on a Quinn.
Yeah.
Others, same qualifications, were not on it. We just decided to treat everybody equally.
Yeah, was it 25% or something?
It,
Trying to remember, it was.
it added about $20,000 in additional benefits on top of the 1.5% increases
Right.
overall. Yes.
Okay.
And this also reflects a request for a additional position, well, reinstating the school resource officer's position. The chief.
Full time?
Yes.
Great.
Good.
So the chief has included that in his budget request. As usual, and not for any, not as a knock against the school department, their process is a little slower than ours. So all I did was plug some numbers in there from last year, with increase of 1.5% on both personnel and operating expenses. I have no idea if that's gonna be sufficient, but, and that's why there's still $63,000 in excess levy in this first go-round of the budget.
I have a question. Is it a state law or some kind of state mandate, why schools don't carry the burden of, in their budget, of the, health insurance and whatnot?
Yes,
It's a state law?
yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Mhm.
Mike, on debt service, it's funny that, it's not funny, but I find it interesting that we go from 2,920,000
It's going down?
to 2,828,834. Is that because we had some short-term bonds that we had to pay some principal back on?
Yeah,
And then now we just turn it into long-term?
well, exhibit B.
So it just switches it off a little bit?
No, one of the longer-term bonds,
Is that exhibit B you have here?
No, that's for the truck.
That's a truck?
actually, the entire bond service is in your front flap,
Yep.
Oh, the other one, okay.
the debt service. Actually, the cost of the Pembroke bond went down from last year already. But there was also a fire equipment bond of $35,000 in principal
That fell
that went away. And just, we did have actually school, there's gonna be some interest due this year on the middle high school work. We don't have a principal payment, but the debt service did go down slightly. As you can see from, you can see further in the details which bonds
Yeah, what's falling off? there?
actually dropped. It's under tab 20,
Bless you.
It's actually in the expense part of the budget.
Well, the good part is things fall off, but the bad part means they're probably fully depreciated, and we have to re-up and purchase some equipment unless they're in good shape. Pretty much, right? Like the fire truck. If we
Yes.
Get a couple of years
Yeah,
without having.
especially when we bought equipment with it, yes.
Any questions, gents?
Well, interest rates are low, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We've actually moved it down even more.
Yeah,
Crazy.
they
Crazy what's
keep
going
falling. I'm like, I can't believe they keep going down. I'm like, shock, you know.
We should see a little bit of a windfall from lower fuel prices too, right, in our budget, Mike?
Well, yes,
Should we project that out?
we did lock in the prices for gas, beginning, we're in the first year of a 2-year contract though. But the last spring, when we had to get a new bulk purchase contract, the option was, go up about 20%, and we were able to secure a gas purchase contract for only a 9% increase. The gas hasn't dropped. We're still at the end of the pipeline, and where it's, natural gas.
Right, yeah, I was talking about gasoline,
yeah.
fire trucks and,
Oh, yeah.
well, fire trucks are diesel, so diesel hasn't really come down much, right? A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And we use, believe it or not, so little gasoline. I mean,
Yeah.
we're very
Diesel.
parsimonious with the use of the police cruisers, and they have a limit of how many miles per shift they're allowed to even drive. And if they exceed that, they need to explain themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
On, if I may, Mr. Chair, though, on what David asked, because I did have a question, and with the oil price down and the natural gas so high in New England, does that affect that, what was it called, the escrow?
The ESCO,
Signed up
Escrow.
for? I mean, we switched everything over to gas, because at the time they told us that's the way to go, I think. Or was that our choice at the time? I mean.
no, we had switched over to natural
Well, I
gas.
thought we had several places where they could go back and forth, because I remember we had to take some oil tanks out. That they could go,
They took the oil tanks out, but they had ceased
Yeah.
to use them years ago.
and so therefore we're not,
No, what we did was replace all our older and less efficient
yes,
burners.
Okay.
With, we were using 85% efficient burners, and now we have 92%.
so we weren't tied in anywhere there with gas versus oil at the time.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
That was my question, basically.
Right, no. So, it's a complicated calculation because the prices have gone up, but they have to basically look at our usage, our
Compared to-
and last year, our usage was up just because it was so darn cold too. It was a very cold year, so, we got a report. I asked our consultant to review it to make sure, it made sense, and it made sense. The savings that they guaranteed were there last year.
Okay.
And we have to do this every year for the next 15 years.
And the key is to make sure it pays for the bond expense.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
We don't wanna be, it was floored, we couldn't be on the hook for that.
It's guaranteed.
Right, but, and now, as we change things, that has to be updated, because now we're gonna have
Right, based on use.
a 98,000 square foot school
Cool, yeah.
on it,
Wasn't in the mix.
and we're getting rid of a 77,000 square foot school. So those numbers have to change.
Now, how do you get a baseline for that? Because remember, we had to establish the baseline.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be
you have to
there's no historical data.
redraw the baseline.
Right.
but Pembroke wasn't part of that project, I think.
It wasn't on electricity. We replaced.
Electricity,
We,
okay.
we replaced
Lights
their
and a lot of
lights, all the lights.
Yeah.
But you're right, we didn't do
Not the
any
boiler work.
ECMs with the boilers.
Yep.
But now we're gonna, our gas usage is definitely gonna increase. So we have to be able to filter that out with our old baseline.
And they know how to do all that?
Yes.
Okay. It's gotta be a complex.
We have a consultant helping us with that too, right?
We will have
Specializes in that, yeah.
yeah, we will have
We want a
somebody to
specialist.
look over their numbers, absolutely.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
I think I sent you all an email a couple weeks ago, it might have been right before, or right after our last meeting. One bit of good news, one of the first, if not the first, action the new governor took when taking office was to increase or release all the appropriated Chapter 90 money to the towns. Georgetown received, I just have a total number here. We received 456,795. That's at least $100,000 more than we received last year, or we're going to receive. So that
Pete must be happy.
that's a
No transportation bond money, right?
no,
Okay.
no. So
But-
that was
Wasn't he looking at maybe pulling that transportation money from the tips?
well
Regionals?
Working on it, yeah.
that was something that Senator Tarr talked
Had
to
mentioned.
Peter about,
Okay.
and to stay tuned. Don't spend the CPC
Right.
money yet until
That's in process, right, from what I
Yes.
understand. He just got it going through a process, so.
It just, CPC had a 8-month, what do we call it, sunshine?
yes,
clause in
yeah.
there
Gary
that
and I
we
were
could-
talking about
That money
that.
can be pulled back now, and at our last meeting, we voted to send Peter a letter asking where we
We're on that.
where we were.
That'll go
on
back
it,
into
so,
CPC funds?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
roll back. We're not, you know, I don't think, while I've been on there, we haven't done that with anything, but we are looking at some of them things that are out there that the
Yeah.
funds aren't getting spent.
Yeah.
Smart move.
But that was a rather short one. Usually, I think they're like
2 years.
Yeah, a couple of years.
yeah.
3 years actually.
Three, yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them
yeah.
were 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should definitely take a look at that and audit what things hadn't been funded or fully funded or whatever, and see if there's.
So many requests.
We have a lot this year.
Yeah.
All right, well, if nobody has anything else, then I entertain a motion to adjourn, and we will see,
We have one
people of Georgetown
common
in 2 weeks.
victular license to approve.
We did it.
We did
Oh,
already.
they did that. Oh,
Yeah,
you
they said
you
to
need.
sign
We
it.
just need to sign it.
Okay.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn and be back in 2 weeks.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Good night, everybody. Have a,
2 weeks, yeah.
safe,
February 9th.
oh, it'll be February 9th, actually, that we're back. Have a safe storm.
I will be traveling and not here on February 9th.
February
Okay.
Somewhere warm.
Somewhere
February 9th,
warm.
And then the 23rd.